Like, I mean, it was launch and get booked immediately. Like our first 3 months were just boom, boom, boom. Because January, February, March are the hottest months in Scottsdale. Spring break, spring training, Waste Management Golf Tournament, Eric Jackson Auto Show, like just flew off the market, right? Then we launched 2 in the summer there in July.
Hello, you're listening to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast, presented by Brandon Elliott. This show will be going over all aspects of real estate investing and is intended to educate, motivate, and prepare you to take action on your first or next real estate investment. For more information, please visit BrandonElliottInvestments.com. Thank you for listening and enjoy.
Welcome back, everyone, to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Brandon Elliott. I'm excited today. I met this gentleman a couple of weeks ago at a local mastermind group, a real estate, for the most part, a mastermind group. We go in and we talk about our credit business and real estate. But what is so amazing behind mastermind groups is you're really getting pulled into high-level individuals that want something bigger, want something more, and are determined to get there and know that they're not the smartest guy in the room. So they're willing to get around other high-level individuals to think outside the box and really be able to not just pour into others, but be able to soak in and be able to get some true transformation. That's what we've always seen, and we've always got an ROI. That's why we're big believers in investing in ourselves. And so a couple of weeks ago, I met Fouad, and it was amazing because he's from Detroit, but he's investing long distance here, and we invest long distance as well, doing long-term rentals. But this guy is very smart because he's doing short-term rentals over in Arizona as well as California, and they're popular markets, right? So it's very lucrative, but he's doing it long distance, and he's got some awesome goals, looking to acquire 50 properties in the next couple of years, in the next 3 years, and take an exit with a 30% increase on that. So very inspiring. But he left his corporate job just in 2019, right? A lot of people might be in corporate right now or getting laid off from corporate, right? There's a lot of people in the tech space right now, and you know, probably many more to come in the next few years when it comes down to this recession and what's going on. So that might not have the education or the confidence to be able to naturally just like leave on their own. So this guy's been able to do it. But what I can encourage you is, if you are on the fence of leaving corporate or really start to jump into this thing we call real estate, then I encourage you to get the education, dive into podcasts like this, books, YouTube, and eliminate that fear. The more confidence you're getting, the more the fear will just start taken away, and then you can deep dive into this stuff. So really excited to have you on, to say the very least, brother. But how's everything going today, man?
Awesome, man. Beautiful day. It's we got mid-50s in Detroit on December 15th. So nice day. I'm writing a chapter, so I'm going to be featured in a book here coming up, and I can't really spill the beans yet, but that's what I've been focused on today. I started it this morning. It's due tomorrow.
Is it? Yeah.
Life of a real estate investor, right?
Yeah. That's me right there. I love that. Fouad, tell me, anybody out there that doesn't know exactly who you are, where you're from, do you mind just diving in that 30,000 foot view?
No doubt. Fouad Bazzi. I'm in Detroit, Michigan, corporate banker for 21 years. Just an amazing job and career path that I had built up. But the reality was it wasn't mine. It was a job. And so I knew that at some point we had a goal that, my wife is an attorney, and our goal was, let's get to debt free. And when we get to debt free, we could stop relying on my W-2. She had her own firm she was building. And then I could get really entrepreneurial. I was traveling 10 to 15 weeks out of the year, and we got 3 little kids. So I was missing a lot of that. And so the idea was, let's create our own path. So 2019, left corporate, started a coffee shop with a kids' play place, got some long-term rentals. And I'll tell you, my strength is I'm not a prideful person. I will tell you when I'm not good at something. Like, that is the one thing I think people try way too hard to improve their weaknesses. And it's like, let those go. You got to
like right away. Yeah.
Fuel the strengths, like put fuel on that, let that fire burn really strong. And so I knew I wasn't a good landlord in long-term rentals because, you call me saying, hey, I can't make payments and I've got little kids. No kids sleeping on the streets on my watch. Just not happening, right?
Yeah.
So stay as long as you need to, get your feet under you. Don't worry about it. Now I'm losing money.
Yeah.
So I got out of long-term rentals. A lot of other reasons, and we'll dive into that, why I got into short-term rentals. But, I still get to mash my passion for real estate investing with also running my own business and building my own brand, which I really just love to do. And we can do that in short-term rentals. So that's where we are now.
I love it. So you started was it a daycare or coffee shop?
It was a coffee shop with a kids play place. But, and you'll hear this in my conversation today. Like, I'm so passionate about kids and pouring into kids and leveling up the kids, right?
Yep.
And so our shop had like a dentist shop, a fire station, a mail station, all these exhibits where they could go into those exhibits. They could dress like that trade and then just kind of run around in the city. It's called Detroit Kid City.
Yeah.
So the front of it was the coffee shop. We roasted coffee. We served healthy snacks, and parents could remote work, do whatever they need to. But we also hosted field trips and birthday parties. We partnered with autistic centers locally to give back to that community and allow a place for kids' creativity to just kind of run wild. It was just a great. But COVID punched us in the face. We had a landlord that wasn't relenting on rent while we were earning zero revenue and the state was on total lockdown. So we knew we had to pivot. We made a settlement, got out of that lease agreement, and knew that we wanted to be our own landlords. So
yeah, I love that. So prior, you were doing banking. What kind of banking space were you in?
Sure. So it started on retail. First 7 or 8 years was in retail. Got into treasury management where we supported small to mid-sized businesses with all kinds of electronic tools and abilities to transmit files and remote deposit capture, all these other things. And then I got into kind of a pseudo bank consulting role. It's called correspondent banking, where we basically banked banks and we got those banks to utilize our infrastructure. We competed with the Federal Reserve to act as a clearinghouse. We would lend money back to the holding company so they could do merger and acquisition activity and buy out shareholders. And then we also supported them with other treasury management tools that allowed them, those community banks to operate.
I love it. And so why real estate?
So Robert Kiyosaki, you mentioned books. So I dove into Robert Kiyosaki. Rich Dad, Poor Dad is the obvious first fundamental book of that. My favorite Kiyosaki book is the Cash Flow Quadrant, right? So it really breaks down and allows you to kind of do, one of our mentors is Ken Clothier, right? And he always talks about start with the end in mind. And so using the Cash Flow Quadrant, you really, I'll give a real quick summary here is you've got you got your quadrant, you've got the E, the S, the B, and the I, right? The E is you're an employee. The S, you're self-employed. Whereas you still got a job. You've created a job for yourself, but now it's your company, it's your business. The B is the business where you've essentially scaled your company large enough you can fire yourself and just focus on working on the business, not in the business. And then the I is the investment, right? And the idea here is you can operate in some of them, all of them. You just got to pick your thing. So for me, what I love about real estate and what I'm doing is with real estate investing, you cover that I, it's building that generational wealth, which eventually allows you to have to scale back and become really passive. And then operating my short-term rental business on top of it. Right now, I'm in that S category where I'm pretty hands-on. I'm the self-employed on top of my I, but eventually I'll hire somebody to run it for me where then I have a B over an I. And this is very akin to the McDonald's model, right? If you haven't, watched the Founder movie, but what is McDonald's? I mean, I can make a better burger than McDonald's. I'm pretty sure you can, and the audience can here today, right? But their idea is they've got a great business process that they put on real expensive real estate, and they use that business process to cash flow their assets so that their assets become paid for and free.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, once I read it in books as well, but once I saw the movie and the process with the founder, that it is all real estate, right? It's really buying the location and having such a high traffic area that it's a no-brainer. You put the systems in place and you got something consistent and exactly the same every single time and something that's affordable, then you're going to have people left and right. So
they're the 7th largest real estate portfolio in the world.
7. Wow.
McDonald's, the burger store, right?
Yeah. That's mind blowing just to think about. Jeez. So talk to me when it comes down to the real estate portfolio currently. First off, Why out of Detroit? Why out of like your backyard, right?
So family is everything to us. I can walk to my parents' house.
Yeah.
In 5 minutes, we can be at my wife's parents' house. We've got her sisters, her brother right here. My sister's a little further away, but it's really important to us to be really close to family. My wife's law firm is here. So, this is home base. This is where it's going to be. It's not my choice, but, I know if I spend enough time away from my family, I know that I just want to be back regardless of where I am. So that's Detroit. Why I pick markets, there's multiple factors that go into how we started in Scottsdale and Huntington Beach. Really free data for everybody is the census data, right? Like, where is the population growth happening now? Where is it happening for the next 5 to 10 years? When you have population growth, you just know appreciation is coming. It's going to follow. It's supply and demand because everything comes back to supply and demand. So that was kind of like number one thing that attracted us to Scottsdale. Number two was we kind of looking at all the industry factors that were driving, home prices there. Back-to-back years, Scottsdale has the highest number of startup investments made in businesses back-to-back years in the country. And so it's like, okay, so businesses are investing here. People are moving here. Those are like two scores, right? Yeah. Building the largest in the world outdoor sports facility in Gilbert.
Yeah.
So that's going to drive traffic from a tourism perspective. Bachelorette party capital of the world, right? Not Vegas, but Scottsdale. Like, totally blew my mind when I read that. Fiesta Bowl every year, Barrett Jackson auction, auto show every year, waste management tournament every year, national championship game every 4 years, all these things, right? So you start to like really unpack what is in this market once you've checked the census data. And that drove us to saying Scottsdale is a place we needed to scale and scale quickly and own a lot of real estate, because that appreciation arrow is going to continue to rise and rise and rise.
Yeah. So you're looking for job growth. You're looking for something unique that like businesses are going there, just more growth in general that is naturally going to set you guys apart.
Yeah. Tourism is pretty strong, but it can't be number one. So for instance, we were looking at Destin, Florida. We were looking at the 30A market in Destin, Florida, really, really ritzy neighborhood. And just like, you get there and you feel like you're in Athens, Greece. It's amazing. It's gorgeous. But what almost 90% of homes are there are people's second homes, really wealthy people's second homes.
Yep.
And what their strategy is basically rent it out half the year, break even on it, and then they're using it the other half of the year. And so what I didn't like about that, for me, capital preservation is going to be there. But from a cash flow perspective, you're counting on just tourism. That's it. And so I don't want to fight a price war. I'm not interested in that. I differentiate on quality, on our guest approach, on how we host people. And in 13 months, we've already got 13 rebookings. That's a big deal to me, because you can get anybody to book one of your properties once, but to get people to book twice, when in America, the average family travels one time a year. And so that alone was just a huge feather in our cap in the way that we're hosting and the way that we're, the approach that we're taking. Yeah. So I like to be in places that tourism is high, but it's not the number one and driving factor in that market.
That's good. Is there a reason why you picked Airbnb versus like multifamily or flipping or wholesaling?
So, high level there is my favorite thing about real estate. All of those things work. So does Airbnb, so does Section 8, so does, the idea is just get into real estate and then kind of figure out your path as you go. Mm-hmm. I think for me, it's the addiction to guest experience. That comes back to my corporate world. I really love customer satisfaction. I love connecting with people and relationship building and really being part of people's journeys. I'm not a good landlord. I figured that out really. So, eventually I'd love to have some multifamily in the portfolio. But right now I'm really hyper-focused on building this brand, because I think, what's interesting about this is building a business on top of the investment. You're building two saleable entities, not just one. And that's attractive for me.
That's good. Yeah, I always tell people, like, right when they're first getting started into real estate, do a little bit of due diligence, a little bit of education on what it looks like for each strategy from beginning to end, just 15, 30 minutes max, to really understand, what does all the moving pieces look like in a fix and flip, a wholesale, notes, non-performing, performing. There's 30 plus different ways to make money in real estate, right? So do a little bit of due diligence on each one and see what you're gravitated towards, see what gets you excited, see what your time management, your relationships, your resources really allow to be able to deep dive into. And obviously it seems like you were gravitated towards the short-term rentals for many different reasons, but really the customer satisfaction and the experience that people are going to have, and just being able to over deliver in that aspect. And something really cool about this is that it can be very damn profitable. So why not, right? Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. It's funny. I mean, I didn't even tell the story yet. Why, you asked why. I mean, we've always kind of had this itch for it. We've stayed in short-term rentals since we've had little kids. I mean, when we had our first son, he was 4 months old. We're staying in a hotel room, and it's like, oh, cool, he's asleep in the car seat. It's like, hurry up and shut up because we can't talk now, right? Like, there's no privacy, there's no nothing. Like, we got to keep him sleeping. So we knew right away we were going to start traveling with short-term rentals. And then we quickly learned one after another that the differentiating factors to go from a 3-star to a 5-star, they're not high. And it always blew my mind that the hosts wouldn't take that extra step. So like, coffee is one of our core values. And we put a $3,000 Jura coffee machine in every one of our homes, whole bean grinder. We partner with all the local coffee roasters. We buy cases of coffee at discounted pricing from them because we tell them, we're going to market you guys on our social media. We're going to market you in our homes to our guests. We're going to do all this stuff for you. So we want better pricing. We put that all in the home. They get high quality coffee. It's free to the extent that you're not paying for it when you're there, but it's built into our rates. It's built into our average daily rates, right? Yeah. And so like, it's, the experience that we're creating through that. But my daughter, who's now 3, at 1 year old, we find out she's severely allergic to tree nuts. And we're in Detroit. The best food allergist in the world is in Long Beach, California. Does the blood work. We get her into the program. We learn that her blood work says it's going to take us every 40 years being there every 2 months. And so I'm a banker, start doing the numbers. It's going to cost me $50K in rentals to be there for the next 4 years. We buy a house in Huntington Beach. We use it. We probably used it this year 8 weeks, I want to say. Yeah. And average rental there for a week is about $5K. Yeah. So do the math there. I've already saved that $50K of expenses. I've already saved it in 1 year.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And now all the profit that you're going to make and all the other benefits and advantages. Are you doing arbitrage on these, or are you actually purchasing these and owning
ownership?
Them?
Yeah, and you can. I mean, that's a great point. So another way to get into it is arbitrage, where you're renting someone's property and then you're subleasing, and you're transparent with the owner. This is exactly what we do. Then the owner says, well, wait a minute. I don't want parties in my house. And you say, wait a minute, listen, I'm a professional. Yeah. I'm not going to have parties. I'm going to manicure your property. I'm going to upkeep it for you. Yep. And you're going to get a little bit more. I'm going to pay you a little bit more than you would have asked on the normal long-term rental rate, right? So that's ultimately, why wouldn't somebody just do it themselves knowing that? Well, they don't want the headache of running the business. They have a job, they have a business, whatever it might be. So they lease it to you, you sublease it. You could also co-host. Yep. Co-hosting is basically, it's your property. Let me run it for you. I don't pay you anything up front. I don't take on any overhead. I don't have any payments to make to you. I run it for you. I get 25 or whatever percent of the gross rental income for the month, right? Now, with arbitrage and co-hosting, you don't get the advantages of the real estate. You don't get appreciation and equity build and tax depreciation. Yeah. So you're getting income. So for somebody that is entering the space and, make the down payment that they want to make an investment property, those are 2 great avenues to crawl, walk, run. They're also great avenues, even if you aren't able to, let's say you want to test a market. You're not sure about the market. You really like the market, but the data says maybe, maybe not. So you want to test it. Go arbitrage somebody's property. This way you don't have to make a huge investment in the market. You can really try to like it. Then you can enter the market. So there are so many ways to enter the market. I'm all in on ownership. For me, that's my model, simply because I am really focused on that I bucket, on the cash flow quadrant. We want to build generational wealth.
That's so good. I love that example too of simply, if you're not fully confident in the area yet, test it out, test drive it, do a little bit of arbitrage in the beginning. It is a great way if you don't have all the finances to get started, if you only have a couple grand really, but you can sell yourself to the current investor, the owner, that you can eliminate all risk, eliminate all fear, take full responsibility over, the maintenance, damages, and have insurance in place and so forth, and really be the professional that they're looking for so that there aren't any crazy parties and stuff like that, and make it profitable on both sides, then that's an incredible win-win situation. However, I am in the same category. Like, I completely agree with having full control of things, especially if you jump into a business. Like, you want to have full control and not want somebody in between to potentially hold you back or say, it was cool last month, but I've decided to stop now, right when you get things going or whatever it may be, So there's tax advantages, there's cost seg, there's all these different things that you can do that can make it way more beneficial. So I do love that. I'm not 100% sure about the laws and ordinance up in Newport area. I know San Diego, they started getting we had to do like a lottery ticket situation. Luckily, not enough submissions were put in versus how many were actually being offered from the city. So all of ours were in, we're registered, we're good to go. But what about you guys up there? Is there any pushback from the city and your particular areas in either locations?
Yeah, so we make sure that first thing I'll start with there is we love regulation, right? I mean, regulation is necessary for those of us that are running this like a true business.
Yep.
It really does help us. It eliminates kind of the riffraff competition and allows that everybody is doing things the right way. And all the other hosts, we are now so willing to share with each other ideas and concepts and processes because we know we're all doing things the right way, right?
Yeah.
So I'm a real advocate of the right amount of regulation. We are permitted. We only do things that way. Scottsdale is still kind of wide open. They just a couple months ago put out some more, added in some rules and into the regulation process.
Okay.
But they're still kind of, while they've added them in and approved them, they're still asking us for feedback because they also want to get this right. What they don't want to do is hurt the market. They know that the majority of us that are doing it the right way, we pay our taxes, we manicure our properties, we care for things, and look, we're paying taxes, right? We are value added, and we're raising the value of our neighborhoods, right? So like these are all win-win scenarios when done right. Huntington Beach is a little bit more of a pain. You have to have the right kind of home. If you don't have, they've got to be owner occupied and ADUs and all these other kinds of things that come along with their ordinances. So we're not going to scale that market just simply because how hard it is to find the exact right kind of property. Yeah. But what you said about San Diego, I mean, I heard that too, where they didn't reach the maximum number of permits. And it's like, God, this is the perfect time to buy. The risk there is if you buy right now and you don't close for 30 days, and when you close, are they full then, right? And so that's kind of the pros and cons of wanting to get into a market. But yeah, I mean, we look for ordinances and regulations that are mature and established because then we know what we're getting into and there are no surprises when we make the acquisition.
That's good. Are you doing the burst strategy on these properties or are you, so no value add, just good to go property so that you can rock and roll right away?
Yeah, it's actually something so we are going to add that philosophy and that strategy in where we buy those properties that we can immediately force some appreciation with our control. Thing is, I'm a banker, right? At my core, I'm a banker. I'm a finance guy. There's not a bone in my body that has the skill set of managing a project from Detroit to Scottsdale without the right partnership.
Sure.
And so what we've been doing and this is actually one of those things that I'm really proud of is in 12 months, 4 homes there, we've accumulated $2.4 million in appreciation. And the way we've done that, buying turnkey properties, is if we find a house, we draw a 5-block radius around that house. And I have my team, they go in and they look at every single home in that 5-block radius. And then we find out in that radius, where are we on an approximate ratio of remodeled homes already? And if there's less than 50%, if it's still a pretty distressed neighborhood, I'll buy the most expensive home in the neighborhood. I don't care because I'm setting the comp for the builder that does have the skill set and the capacity to go in and flip a bunch of homes. He's going to look at that radius now and he's going to say, look, that one just sold. So I can go buy 5 in that neighborhood. I can flip them and I've got the comp there to support my burst.
That's good.
So by bringing all that new money into that radius, he's raising my floor essentially. Yeah. And so we've used this model so that I don't have to deal with the headache of the project. I buy, I furnish, I design, and I have fun renting. Yeah. And I let everybody else bring the new money. But if in that radius, we're already greater than 50% remodeled, I won't touch it.
Yeah, that's so good, man. And that's a different spin and a great way to look at it, honestly, to be able to kind of help out the real estate market in general. Plus, it still makes sense for you. And you're bringing up your floor really sooner than later, which is great. And then you can just do the same thing and keep multiplying. So obviously, anybody that's getting started into short-term rentals, do your due diligence when it comes down to the city, certain regulations, and have a strong pulse on that, of course. But, like what you're doing right now is perfect because you're looking at markets that are up and coming, trending, and really going to get hit with a ton of appreciation in the near future. You've capitalized greatly already in it, which is awesome. Do you have plans to take out or utilize some of that equity so you can put to work and get more?
Yeah, we definitely want to. The interest rate hike, obviously, kind of put a little bit of thing because we have really good rates on a lot of them.
Sure.
So we're looking at some other private hard money lenders that'll give us second loans at, even if they're higher rates. I don't care if it's 10%, to be honest with you, because we're making 25 plus on, percent wise. So if I can get a second position with a hard money lender, we'll take some of that money down. We'll go acquire, again, focusing on population growth and appreciation-driven markets. We really like a couple markets in Texas right now. We will continue to scale Scottsdale because, and you probably know this, is with three key factors to building a good team on the short-term rental side. We self-manage. We don't have a property management company managing for us.
I love it.
Cleaner, maintenance guy, and a property manager. My property manager has basically become my chief operating officer. I mean, she cares way more about the properties than I could have ever dreamed of being as far away from them. And she is all over it, right? My maintenance guy, he's my backbone. And what I've also learned is by scaling so quickly in one market, I'm an important customer for them.
Oh, yeah.
Right? If you have one, that guy will lose you as a client all day long. You're so replaceable. You have 5 homes with one team. You hold a little bit of strength there. So my cleaners take really good care of me. My maintenance guy, Jeff, is really a beast, and my operations team. You have those 3 things in play, scale those, like get those guys to capacity. So we'll continue to scale those. We really love Seattle, Park City, Breckenridge. We're focused on experiences, right? So I've got the desert and the hiking. I've got the beach in Huntington. We'll continue to scale. We'll probably get into the San Diego market soon. We really want to get into a ski in and a ski out place. And again, population growth, Texas.
I love it. Fouad, talk to me about how you're getting some of the help here, like the cleaners, maintenance guy, and so forth.
Just research, man. I mean, interview, really, I want to make sure that I'm not their first short-term rental customer. I want to make sure they really understand this game. My maintenance guy actually owns a short-term rental of his own. My property manager, I hired her. She was on the design team that was designing the homes. So when I bought my first 2 in Scottsdale, she was super and uber familiar with them. She knew everything about those homes inside out more than I did. All I did was walk through, fall in love, and buy. She was like in there intricately getting it ready for me. And she's just become, so much more than just, property manager. And my cleaners, they've got a great team. They do short-term rental cleaning. They do hospital cleaning, multifamily cleaning. So they've got a multitude of experiences, which also then gives them a multitude of experiences on the type of guests that they're cleaning after, right? So they've got all kinds of experiences, things that I would never think of. So that's ultimately what I look for is just people that are, I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I'm so far from it. I just got a vision, and I'm finding people that are really, really smart in the trades that I need them to be in.
I love that. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I feel like we've had our ups and downs for sure with our Airbnbs and finding, good workers that last and not jump around or find other places where they're getting more and stuff like that. So I think really having backup plans, but also figuring out how to really make that culture extra special and keeping them busier than ever, right? Like once you have a team of people that are working around the clock on like 5, 6, 10 properties, then it really starts helping out because that's a big impact. They really have to find something, big to be able to leave you on something like that. Talk to me about some learning curves. Over the years doing this, what has been something that like just stands out the most that you're like, wow, I wish that didn't happen, or we'll never make that mistake again? Or maybe if you could have redone it, something that you might have pivoted on.
Sure. 2 things I'll tell you. So really cool lesson we learned. So the first 2 that we launched in Scottsdale were last December.
Okay.
And when we launched those things, it was launch and get booked immediately. Like our first 3 months were just boom, boom, boom. Because January, February, March are the hottest months in Scottsdale. Spring break, spring training, waste management golf tournament, Eric Jackson Auto Show, just flew off the market, right? Then we launched 2 in the summer there in July. And it really tough timing because summertime is the hottest time of the year. Whereas
Sure.
even most locals want to get the heck out of there.
Yeah, it's like 120 degrees. They're like, out, I'm
burning,
done.
burning, right? And so they got out, and people are planning less in the fall because school starts and, Christmas savings and all that other stuff. So we launched a little slower. Those summer homes launched a little slower. So timing your launch can really be a big deal in how much you need to go in with some reserves.
Yeah.
And how quickly you can start earning some revenue, right? So that's lesson one. Lesson two, so there's a scaling process to the pricing and how you want to do. So let's just use, $1,000 a night as an easy kind of example.
Sure.
Let's say that's your goal. I want to get to $1,000 a night at this house. Well, and that was a goal for us at this one home in Scottsdale. So we did is we launched last December. We launched at $749 a night. Because when we launch, you have 0 reviews. So when somebody clicks on it, it's like, nice pictures, but is it for real? Are they real? There's just this stigma around what is this thing? That's the stigma in a guest looking for a booking.
Yeah. So, if there's no reviews, it starts popping up a little skeptical. I don't want to be the first guy. Yeah.
Yeah. If it's so beautiful, then why 0 reviews? The obvious answer is it's new.
Brand new.
But for us, it was, okay, so let's launch it at $749 a night. And I opened up my calendar for 12 months. We booked like this. I mean, like every weekend in the spring was booked within 4 days, I want to say.
Wow.
At $750 a night. So retrospectively, what I would have done is launched maybe a month.
Yeah. Don't give out the whole year. Yep.
Scale up $50.
Yep.
Get a few more reviews, a few more bookings, open up another month, get a few more, so I would have timed my release a little bit better. But all to say, I mean, it's great. And we've proven, so this coming spring, that same home, we're at $1,100 a night. And what we did is we slowly increased that rate until the market kept booking and booking and booking. And once we stopped getting bookings, it was like, okay, go back to that last one, right? Yeah. Like that last one was the butter. Like, let's do that. So
what kind of home do you have over here? Is this is a big boy, huh?
It's actually not a huge. It's 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom, but it's a really picturesque home. It's a really sexy home in pictures. It's gorgeous. Beautiful. It's very intimate, and it's really wide open. So the living space is amazing. You've got the great room with a really long kitchen bar island with 6 bar stools, 2 different table areas. And it's got the pocket doors that open wide, all the way up to the backyard. So you're living indoor, outdoor kind of thing. Private pool. We focus on privacy. So like when we use the word private, a lot of people use the word private as in like nobody else can use it but you.
Yeah.
For us, we take privacy to the extent nobody can see in the yard.
Yeah.
So we make sure the hedges are tall. Everything is tall around the yard. Like, this is your retreat. This is your getaway. And that's why we use the brand Crescent Retreats. This is your retreat. It is a gorgeous home. It's the kind of the white, gray, black model that we've all become accustomed to in the new modernized refinishes. And it's a beautiful home. And we're doing really well with that one.
Bro, have you had any like crazy horror stories though, or anything when, you set up a lot of privacy here?
We do a great job of due diligence. Yeah, we do a really good job of that. I have a 15-page rental agreement that if a guest is not willing to sign that agreement, I already know your intentions. Go find somewhere else to go, right? I know stuff is going to happen. Bad things happen and accidents happen. I don't hold that against my guests. We've had a couple of things break. I don't go back after my guests for that because mistakes, they happen. I'd much rather you like me and want to book with me again than me come after you for $200. Give me a 5-star review and we're good, right? Let's roll. But our guest due diligence is really, really strong. But what I've learned, I'll take bachelorette parties all day long. Dude, men are animals. We are the worst. Bachelor parties scare the hell out of me. Our pool wasn't heating. Our pool company comes out and does some diagnostics. They have to fish out an empty beer bottle from the filter. Like literally, right? Like why? I get you're a little, tipsy, but why? Why would you do that? So men are animals. Women still, even if they're having a really good time and get a little beyond themselves and their self-control, they're still very caring and respectful. Yeah. I'm generalizing big time here.
Sure.
Bachelor parties scare the hell out of me. Bachelor parties, I'd welcome all day long. I mean, it's just things that you learn.
And what I would assume is that with the price point as well, you're probably getting somewhat of a higher clientele, I guess, that, they're not going to be as much of a hot mess. But have you had like crazy parties or like, do you put up cameras.
Noise detectors, Ring cameras, and all disclosed, right? So the Ring cameras tell us, like, if I've got on the rental agreement, I got 8 people coming in, and I got 16 people walking in through the front door. It's like, wait a minute, guys, what are we doing here? I'm on the call right away.
Yep.
No horror stories. I mean, you're right. We are attracting the right kind of guests because of our price point. And I will tell you, when we went with luxury, part of that is the price point and getting that kind of clientele. But the other thing that I know and we all know is, eventually, regardless of how good the times are, you're going to hit a recession.
Yeah.
And recessions don't hit that upper 1%, right?
Yeah.
Really wealthy. They're not impacted. And you know who tells us this? Again, not the smartest guy in the world. I'll rely on all those big money and institutional studious people to tell me, you look at the Ritz-Carlton, you look at the Four Seasons, they don't discount their pricing, even in a recession. Nope. They're not lowering their standard of travel, right? If you want our product, you're going to pay this, and we don't care what's happening in the economy. Yeah. Their clientele is always traveling. Yep. So what I've done is I've essentially created a product that is marketing to that clientele, and it's essentially made me recession-proof. So when I'm in Airbnb, Facebook groups and all that, and I hear, well, we're not booking, we are.
Yeah. I love that.
So, yeah.
Do you put like a minimum amount of stays on yours?
3 nights.
3 nights, yep. And I think that there's something special behind that too, because originally when we made mistakes in the beginning by having, you could do 1 night and 2 nights. And then those are the ones that constantly we kept on finding, like, people trying to throw parties, and we could kind of spot it out before they got to it. And once we just changed that, made it 3 nights as well, that started changing it drastically, because nobody's going to pay a high dollar amount for a minimum of 3 nights when they're really just trying to party 1 night.
Yeah, no doubt. And you know what? I have this conversation all the time. 100% occupancy is not a good thing. I mean,
yes, I agree.
You would imagine, right? Like, you would think that's what your goal is. No, the reality is, what I found to be kind of the sweet spot, give me 70% occupancy, and I want to be in that upper 20% of pricing. I want to be in the top 20 percentile of pricing.
That's good.
I'd rather have that than 100% occupancy in the 60th percentile of pricing, right? Like, I don't want that. So we were having a conversation at the mastermind that I saw you had. There was another gentleman there that was boasting they're in the top 20 percentile, top 21 percentile in pricing at 100% occupancy. I said, cool, raise your pricing.
Yeah, raise them up, man.
Already at the top 21%. I don't care. Raise your price.
Yeah.
Because 100%, first of all, 100% occupancy is not sustainable. And if you do sustain that, when you do have an issue, it's not going to be a small issue. It's probably going to be a big issue.
Sure.
I'm good. Like, I don't want that. This is still an investment that we're protecting at the end of the day. And I need to be able to get my guys in there, my team in there, to get their hands on it, really feel it, touch it, fix it. I mean, so that's really important.
Have you come to find when it comes down to like maintenance or just upkeep that it's typically more or less or about the same as kind of like what you would anticipate on a long term?
Well, long term, the nice thing is, you're pretty hands off unless something is just broken, right?
Sure.
We haven't had a lot of maintenance kind of stuff. We've had some choice maintenance kind of stuff. Yeah. So like with one of them, we learned that because we were hosting on average 14 people in that house.
Yeah.
We needed a second set of washer and dryer. So that meant we had to run some electrical. We had to run, we had to add another drain, do all this other kind of stuff.
Of course.
That was choice maintenance. But no, the maintenance on it has been pretty, and we've got a really good schedule. We're very proactive. We don't wait to be reactive with our stuff.
Yeah.
So it's get some filters, change our filters every quarter, change our, we're proactively looking at light bulbs. We're, just doing all the normal stuff that you would do if it was a home you lived in.
I love that. That's really good. And keeping that stuff organized and planning ahead, that's what it's about. So you can be proactive instead of reactive and then scrambling around and driving yourself crazy, right?
Yep.
Talk to me, is there any software, systems, services, tech stuff that really helps the business grow, scale, systemize?
Yeah, so like it depends on who you talk to, right? Like
Sure.
I'm an industry contrarian when it comes to this, and I've talked to a lot of really experienced people that just don't agree with me. But talking about the tech stack is all the different softwares that an Airbnb business uses to help them. So you can have a property management software where you're integrating your listings from Airbnb and VRBO into one platform, and then you can use that platform to message guests in both Airbnb and VRBO or Booking.com or whatever else. You can have Price Labs, which is a dynamic pricing tool, which basically automatically adjusts your pricing to the market and supply and demand and holidays and events and all this other stuff. You can use,
I highly recommend that, by the way. If you're not using that right now, you definitely should, because you're leaving money on the table, and you're also, you could be missing out on certain things if you always just keep your price, right
especially
there.
if you don't know events are coming to town and all that, right? But what I always advise people is Airbnb has a dynamic pricing tool built right in with it.
Yeah.
So here's kind of the hem and the haw is like, you're fighting the Airbnb and VRBO algorithm already just being listed on there, right? Like you've got to find ways to get to the top of their algorithm to be on page one. If you integrate with, property management software for starters, now you have to fight that algorithm to be near the top of theirs. Integrated with Airbnb fighting that algorithm as well. You're just adding more algorithm to fight. And we integrated pretty quickly. When we were at a third property, we integrated with the PMS and the property management software. And we had terrible experience. We went from getting 6 inquiries a day to 0 inquiries a day for 3 weeks. We had 0 inquiries, and we're launching. We're brand new. It was like, this is not good. And I was very proactive. I was very communicative with them, gave them a lot of opportunities to fix this, and they couldn't get it fixed. I disintegrated with them. And I'm telling you, the next day we went right back up to 6 inquiries a day. So fighting algorithms on top of algorithms, I think there's a right time to do it. I think there's a right way to do it. But I tell you, we're at 6 properties and I still have not integrated with any of those tools. I use Airbnb and VRBO. You can link the calendar still with each other right through there. The only inefficiency I would say I have versus the common host that does use a PMS is that I have to message my Airbnb guests in Airbnb and to message my VRBO guests in VRBO. Is that really a big deal? I mean, I don't know. People use messaging apps and WhatsApp too, right? So it's like, it's really not that big of a deal. Just having notifications turned on and you're good to go. So I have fun. But I'll tell you what I do. I've got a team of 4 virtual assistants in the Philippines that I utilize for all of my kind of what I call my low ROI, my return on investment tasks, right?
Yep.
My time is valuable. And if I do it all, I can't search for more properties. I can't raise more capital. I can't do all these other things. Yeah. So what am I doing? I got, we've got that. I told you about the rental agreement that we have signed. The other big one for me is the guidebook. When you go into an Airbnb and hosts have that binder on the kitchen counter with all the information, it's like, cool, page 1 has ketchup on it, page 2 has syrup on it, page 3 has honey on it. Please, right? So we automate that as well. So when we get a booking, first thing I do, I see the booking, shoot a video, 10-second video. Hey, thanks for your booking. Here's what to expect. Can't wait to host you. Here's my cell phone number. Call me if you need me. Boom. Text message that to the guest. That's made it sticky right away. That guest is no longer just out and uncomfortable and looking for another property anymore. Like, they are locked in now. They know that I'm locked in. My team will email them the rental agreement. They sign the rental agreement electronically. It comes back to my team. Once that's done, we send them the guidebook. The guidebook has the access codes, our bike lock codes, our house rules, our check-in orientation, our checkout rules, our favorite restaurants, golf courses, attractions, et cetera, right? Yeah. That goes to them. They love that. And then we've got 4 other touch points with the guests before they check in. And then once they're checked out, we get a review from our cleaning team. My cleaning team sends my virtual assistants a review. And as long as that review passes, we're directly messaging them outside of Airbnb and outside of VRBO. We're messaging them, hey, save our number, give us a call, email us. If you ever want to book with us again at any one of our properties, here's where to find our properties. Here's your discount code. And we'd love to host you direct. It's going to save you money on the Airbnb fees. It's going to, so we've got all kinds of back office stuff that's happening by my team. The average virtual assistant is about $4, $5 an hour. And they're incredible. They're faithful, they're accountable. They're great teammates.
I love that. I love how you give the discount code for anybody that left. Yeah. And they were in good spirits, everything good. Are you encouraging them to leave reviews?
Yeah. So we ask them, we beg them, not beg them, but we ask them really politely, and we make sure that they're educated that those reviews are a key function of our business. And that's how we are able to continue to provide all those other, all the right services and amenities, right? So we make sure we give the reviews, we ask for the reviews. And, luckily, I don't have to beg or chase for it. And I think maybe because it's the price point, I'm with a customer base that kind of likes to do that.
Yeah.
And we've been pretty lucky with our response.
I love that personal touch that you do with right after they book, you're doing a video right to them and sending it, just something short, sweet, but it also shows that like you put that personal touch to it. You took the time out of your day to do it. It's not everything is all automated and systemized. Like I know it is, like that's your operating procedures, but it's like, it's also that physical personal touch, saying their name and everything. It probably eliminates any uncomfortableness and makes them feel just amazing to have somebody that they can count on to reach out to if needed.
Yeah. And like I said, I mean, we've stayed in so many of these.
Yeah.
What I've learned is I know my cancellation date when I get a full refund still. And between when I book and that date, I'm constantly looking, really every couple of days, I'm looking like, is there a better house at a better rate? Right. Sure. So, and if I find it, I'll switch. And I've done that a couple of times. But by doing this, by creating that stickiness and giving them that real personal touch, I don't get canceled. I mean, unless something weird happens or, we've had a couple canceled because their group went from 14 people to 6 people or whatever their unique circumstances, but we're not really losing guests. I mean, that's the stickiness of it.
Are you capturing emails through, I forget, it's like Stay Wi-Fi?
Stay-Fi is what it's called.
Yeah.
So we haven't yet. Okay. And, the primary reason we haven't done Stay-Fi is my AV guy is doing a little research on it. We want to. Stay-Fi, for our listeners today, Stay-Fi is, when you go to a hotel room or a coffee shop, when you say, click on the free Wi-Fi, but you have to put in your email address and your phone number and your name. Stay-Fi allows us to gather all that data from everybody that's coming in. So if you've got 12 people in the home, now not only do I have the booking person's data, I have everybody's data. And so we're looking at, there's some reviews out there that say Stay-Fi does degrade the Wi-Fi experience a little bit, the strength of the signal. And when you've got 12 guests in there and each one on average probably has 2 devices that they're linking up, plus you've got all your smart TVs, at what point do you put too much stress on the infrastructure? Yeah. So we're looking at different ways that we can collect that data, but collecting that data it's a high priority for us. Yeah, especially, I mean, if you're having that many people in your homes, that's a lot of data you could capture and retarget. And, at the end of the day, a lot of money to potentially capture over the long term. Dude, I love this. Where are you heading in the future? What's next? And what's up for 2023? Yeah, so, I just launched my mentorship program. I haven't launched it publicly yet, but I'll tell you about it. It's called the Airbnb Launchpad.com. Yeah. And so super excited about it. I haven't actually, we have the URL, we haven't put it out, but if you gave me a follow on Instagram at Fouad Bazzi _Airbnb, you'll see, we can DM me, schedule some time with me. But the Airbnb Launchpad, I want to pour in, man. I want to help people get out of the hamster wheel. I want to help people take control of their own path. I was lucky enough to do it and I want to help that. So that's vertical 1. We're raising capital for our investments. That's vertical 2. We want to get into some really experiential kind of stuff. We want a couple of boutique hotels where we could have multiple guests, but also we could host a big family reunion or a wedding. So those are a couple of the things that we're really looking at doing. I love that, man. That's super exciting. And the exit that you have planned in the future, the end goal in mind, right? I'm a big believer in the experience, especially in this space. It's crucial to be able to give that above and beyond experience to capture the new memories and something that, these families are going to talk about from years to come. And then they'll always come back and think like, hey, what about that home? Like we got to go back and revisit. So I think that's pretty damn awesome. Excellent. Well, Fouad, man, I appreciate you greatly. You are a wealth of knowledge. It's awesome to hear about your background, more about the family. You got 3 little ones, 3, 6, and 8, and a beautiful wife, and just incredible, just goals in general, right? Like you're a wealth of knowledge. So I'm excited to see pouring into more people that are looking to get out of that hamster wheel, right? Like get out of the 9 to 5, if that's what they're called to do, right? And really be able to get into some true generational wealth. And that's what it can turn into over the long run. So I'm really excited for that. Dude, how can people get a hold of you? So Instagram's the best way. Fouad Bazzi, Fouad Bazzi, Bazzi _Airbnb. I'm working on a tag. I got to shorten that up and make that a little bit easier. but that's what it is today. If you click into my bio, I've got my link tree. Feel free, guys. I'm always glad to take 15 minutes. There's a 15-minute link where you can schedule me. I'm so glad to jump in one-on-one and create a path, whether that's through my mentorship, whether you want to invest with me, or whether I can just give you a few tips. I love pouring into people. And actually, real quickly, the reason I started the mentorship, not because I want to monetize, I'll tell you two things about it. One, I was giving all my time away for free because I just freaking want to help everybody I can.
Yeah.
And two impacts I've had, it was taking away my ability to prioritize finding new properties. So I have to do that for my investors. But also two, I've learned free information is great. There's plenty of it out there. But people that only consume free education, they don't capitalize on that. But when you actually take the time to invest in a mentorship, man, that lights a fire under your butt. And so those are my things. So hook up with me, and I'd love to connect with people, always.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, all the free stuff is out on YouTube, man. Like, jump on YouTube, books, podcasts, like it's all free out there. If you really want to skip the free line and get some real, like, quick results, then you got to pay attention. That's just what it comes down to. Anything free that I've got, even just myself, like, guilty of it. If I've got great friends of mine that have high level courses that they'll give to me absolutely free, and I won't open it whatsoever because it was free. It's like
no accountability, right?
There's no accountability. So when you pay attention. And I think there's so much truth behind it. So by all means, bro, I appreciate your time today. I'm excited and grateful for where your heart's at to be able to help and serve out more people, and really the impact that you're making in the space. There's a lot of, there's not a lot, but there's people out there that are doing it incorrectly. And obviously you're not one of them. You're doing it the right way and making it really something special for the guests. So that's cool. Guys, if you want to get a hold of me, you can always do so on Instagram. It's Brandon Elliott Investments. Otherwise, facebook.com/Brandon Elliott Investor. If you're looking to really get educated on credit, understanding how to flip the script on the banks and get as much funding as your heart desires, 3, 4, 500,000 in new credit lines at 0% interest, doing that every 6 months for yourself, being able to travel hack, being able to purchase real estate with credit. Even if you are stuck and you need to clean up some negative things from the past, don't worry, we got you. Check out creditcounselelite.com. That's www.creditcounselelite.com. We have about an hour-long webinar that you are able to really see the full possibilities of credit, like really, truly what you can do and how we can help and best serve you with the credit space, be able to hit all your goals and dreams. If money is an issue, don't allow it to be. All right, the banks are in the space of giving out all the money in the world. It's just, you got to learn how the ins and outs to position yourself and be able to fit within their box of lending. Anyway, guys, check out www.creditcounselelite.com. We'll see you on the other side. Make sure you subscribe to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast and leave that 5-star review. Greatly appreciate all the love and support. As always, share this out. Fouad, you are the man. You guys have a blessed Christmas. Appreciate your time, and we'll talk soon. God bless.
This has been another episode of Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast, brought to you by Brandon Elliott. For more information, please visit BrandonElliottInvestments.com. Also, please don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment below. Thanks again for joining. Until next time, God bless.